Alan, who is the greatest Premier League captain of all time? First up, you've put Patrick Vieira in the great category. Tell us why.
I think with all of this list, you're going to get great leaders who are respected not only by your own players, but I think probably more importantly the opposition and certainly fans. And that's definitely the case with him.
Steven Gerrard, you've put him in the good category. Never won the Premier League, but still makes a list.
Yeah, again, I mean, if you look at whenever Steven walked out first, I think he got the respect. People understood who and what he is and what he meant and what Liverpool meant to him as a person.
What did you look for as a player when you weren't a captain?
I think when games are going against you, then you have to be the one that does something to change it, whether that's a crunch and tackle, whether that's a goal, whether that's a goal line clearance, or it's just doing something to try and affect that game to change it when it's not going with you, because you know as well as I do that football's not that easy, that everything goes in for you. So there are going to be times when you're going to have to change things as a captain. Not the personnel I'm on about, but change things on the pitch for the better.
John Terry, you've put him in the great category. Obviously winning a few titles helps. What did you see in him that made him such a good leader?
He's a fantastic footballer as well as a great leader. Players looked up to him. I think he's one of the best, if not the best, we've seen with two-footed centre-halves, could ping it around with left foot, right foot. He was as tough as they come. And he knew how to win.
Tim Sherwood in the good category. Tell us why.
He had to be on the list because he was my captain at Blackburn when we won the league in 94-95 season. Little old Blackburn coming in to take the might of Manchester United on, and for him to lead us to that was something very special. So he had to be in the category.
Sticking with good, Wes Morgan, another one. Leicester obviously won it. Well, 2016. That's now nearly 10 years. Is there still? Do you think that could still happen in this day and age?
I'd be amazed if it was to happen again. But having said that, we all thought after Christmas time that they were never going to stay there. They were never going to be top of the league. But I think in terms of what Leicester did and what Blackburn did, the size of the football clubs, then it's actually similar. And the little boys coming in to take the big boys on, and the little boys don't often win. And when they do, then I think it has to stand out.
Virgil van Dijk, you've put him in the great category. Is he close to that legend status yet?
Yeah, I think he's been one of, if not the best defender in the Premier League for a while now. Obviously had a bad injury, but has come back from that and looks as good as ever now.
When you look at someone like Van Dijk in this day and age, is that the sort of player that you'd have?
Yeah, I mean he just takes everything in his stride. And I think that's also a really good trait of a captain, is to not be flustered when things aren't going for you. And that's one thing that you could never sort of aim at him, because he looks as relaxed as anyone.
As a captain, I mean, sticking with Newcastle, how do you deal with the situation at the moment with Alexander? Like, it's one of them where you don't really envy Bruno Guimaraes there, do you?
No, I mean, it's a really difficult situation for the player and for the football club. It's not nice. It's not nice for the manager to be facing those questions every single day when the team is far more important than any individual. I think as a captain, you've just got to make sure that all the other players are aligned and saying the same thing and wanting the same thing. And judging by the first couple of games, then the Newcastle players are.
If, for example, you were in that situation, would you try and get involved with the situation, or would you just be like, that's not for me? I
think at the beginning you possibly would, but then the longer it's gone on, then I think you leave that to the powers that be, whether that's the manager or the owners. But it's been going on for such a long time now that I guess you could speak to the player in the first week or two. But then after that, then I guess you'd have to leave it to the bigger players.
Jordan Henderson, you've gone for him as good. Why good? Why does he make the list?
Well, he has to make the list because of what he achieved at Liverpool and what he won at Liverpool. I think Jordan's a great example of where you can come from and where you can get to. And I think you don't get to that without being special, without having a great attitude. And that's one thing he's always had.
And are you happy to see him back in the Premier League?
Yeah, happy to see him back. Yeah, he'd went away for a while. still going strong with England, still, I would think, want to play a major part in the World Cup. And I think for him to do that, he had to come back to the Premier League, and it's great to see him at Brentford.
On England, once Harry Kane steps down or whatever, who do you see as a potential next skipper for England?
That's a really good question. I don't see him standing down for a while. He'll want to do the World Cup, and he'll want to continue scoring goals. I guess you would have to retire Harry rather than Harry retire. But that's the measure of the guy, that he's been around for so long now and scoring so many goals.
Tony Adams, you've put him as a legend. Why?
He was the best defender I played against. I mean, we had some great battles over the years. He kicked me, I kicked him, but we both sort of shook hands at the end of it. What he won, what he meant to those Arsenal players, and how he changed his career around, I guess, from where he was to where he sort of got to, and what he had to get through when Arsene went there to Arsenal. And when you speak to any ex-Arsenal player who played under Tony as captain, they will tell you how great he was.
What made him so tough? Was it something in particular? Did he feel like he knew?
He was a great organiser. When that Arsenal back four or back five, including the goalkeeper, was as good as there was, the game was slightly different then. You could make a crunch and tackle in the first 10 or 15 minutes and not get a yellow card. So it was very different then. But he was a leader of a really, really tough team.
Roy Keane, another one that you've put in the legend category.
You have to. I think what he achieved in the game, particularly at Manchester United, and to be the leader of so many great players and be successful, then he had to be on that list.
Do you feel like the current Premier League or the current game in general lacks leaders like Roy?
I think it's changed. I think not only football, but the world's changed, and the attitude towards life has changed, I guess, and it's a very different upbringing now to what it was 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago. You could be a lot tougher, and I guess the world is like that, not just football.
What do you prefer?
My time.
The GOAT Premier League captain, Alan Shearer's GOAT Premier League captain, Vincent Kompany. Why?
I just think where he was at Manchester City and where they wanted to get to and where they got to ultimately, and to have lifted the trophy that many times as he did, and to have that respect, that's why I had him as number one.
He's one of the few that's made the transition into management, doing well, you'd say. How hard is that?
Oh, it's tough. I mean, I think that tells you about his attitude and his ability to adjust and to adapt, because it's very different from playing to then going into being a manager, trying to get other players to sort of get your ideas and understand who and what you are is different to being a captain, to being a manager, and he's been very successful at that as well.
And the season ahead, I know we're only a couple of weeks in. Early thoughts, who do you think takes the title this year?
My mind hasn't changed. I mean, I think the top four speak for themselves. Liverpool, City, Arsenal, Chelsea. I still see Liverpool coming out on top, albeit they've played 2-1-2 and not been very good yet, and that has to be a positive.